the Judiciary and Governor's Council.
Sorry, guys, I'm just making sure everything's up and
Members
running.
of Congress, particular Leader Clark, Inspector General, mayors and local officials.
I messed this up multiple times.
Former electeds. Good evening, Governor. Business and
Comments
labor
on?
leaders, clergy and guests. To everyone in this great chamber and everyone at home, thank you for giving me the privilege of serving as your governor.
Are these people like paid to clap? Like, what the hell's going on here?
To Joanna and our families, thank you for your love and support. At home,
Oh, we are live, okay.
to our Lieutenant Governor, the LG, Kim Driscoll.
Is chat working? I feel like chat's not working. Let me try something else. I'm not going to end the stream now. I think we'll be okay.
Kim, that ovation says it all. There's nobody who does a better job of keeping us fired up, of always focusing us on the needs of residents in our communities. You give 110% all the time. The state couldn't have a better leader, and I thank you.
Sorry, guys, I'm trying to get the chat up. YouTube,
To members of our cabinet and executive staff, Team Massachusetts all the way. Let's see those bracelets. To our state employees, thank you for the work
chat
that you
is
do to
disabled
keep
for this live stream.
Massachusetts
Why is
strong.
chat disabled? I gotta try to fix that, guys. Give me a minute.
To our service members, veterans, and Gold Star families, everything we have, we owe to you.
I think it has something to do with restrictions. Oh, it should be fine. I don't know why chat's not working.
250 years ago,
Sorry, guys, I don't know what's going on with the chat, but I'm going to try to get it working.
On a common in Lexington and a bridge in Concord, the farmers, tradesmen, and shopkeepers of the Massachusetts militia took a stand. They risked everything for the right to self-government, and they started a revolution that gave us our country. This is our legacy, Massachusetts. It's more than our history. It's who we are. The militia that fought at Lexington and Concord, guess what? It never disbanded. It kept going. It became part of the United States Army.
Well, she's just bullshit.
And
I'm going
defended
to see if I can
freedom
fix this.
at every moment in our history. Today, it's known as the 181st Infantry Regiment, the 181, and its home is in the Massachusetts National Guard. Now, for most of the last year, the 181 was deployed to Iraq, defending peace in one of the most dangerous regions of the world. A few weeks ago, Joanna and I went out to Hanscom Air Force Base to thank those soldiers who were returning home. They stepped off the plane, no coats, just camo in their boots, straight into a welcoming, freezing wind and driving snow. But they were undaunted. They kept smiling because they were home and soon they would see their families. 9 soldiers in the 181st received combat badges during this deployment. Some of them are with us this evening. Let's give them a big I'm moved beyond words by the grit, drive, sheer goodness and determination of the people of Massachusetts. I see it in the firefighters who spent weeks battling wildfires last fall. When we see, as Father John said, what the firefighters are doing in Southern California right now, and what our own firefighters and also first responders and also police officers do every single day, we are so grateful. Tonight, I want to welcome home, yes. And tonight, we're honored to have with us International Firefighters President and Boston's own Ed Kelly.
There we go.
Welcome home, Ed. Rich and the boys will take good care of you. I see it in the teachers in the schools where we pioneered public education. I see it in the breakthroughs by our scientists and innovators. Did you know that last year,
There we go.
in 2024, a third of all of the Nobel Prizes, a third went to people in Massachusetts. Now, this is not unusual, it turns out. Two MIT economists won for showing that democracy makes economies stronger. And tonight with us are Victor Ambrose of UMass Chan Medical School and Gary Rivkin of Mass General Hospital and Harvard. They won the Nobel Prize for Medicine, and they and you will be glad that our economic development bill that we passed and reinvested in life sciences will ensure that the technologies and the great future of jobs will be right here in Massachusetts, and I'm glad you're cheering for our Nobel winners. Thank you. Thank you. We tackle hard problems in Massachusetts. Hard stuff. Wicked hard stuff, sometimes. I think of Coach Joe Mazzulla. He said, he's an innovator as well in a field that I like. He said, everybody notices the easy things. Can you fight to notice the hard things? That's where winning is. You know, we know something about winning in Massachusetts. Last year, the Boston Renegades won the National Women's Football title. The Fleet were national finalists in women's hockey. It's the 100th anniversary of the Boston Bruins. And the Celtics have hung banner 18. How about that, Max, right? Love you, Max. And you know what was really special? Though they did not happen in Massachusetts.
I'm turning down their volume a little bit, actually,
Paris.
Jimmy.
Those Olympic and Paralympic Games, we had over 40 athletes from Massachusetts representing our great state. With us tonight are rowing medalist Clark Dean and also Famita Ayambeku. Famita.
Yeah, the claps are like extremely loud in my ears. All right, let's get on with it.
I just got to say something about Famita. You know, she's a world-class Paralympic sprinter and a mom who gave birth 8 months before she competed. She made the finals in the 100 meters, did us proud. 2 years ago, we promised to lead in a way worthy of this state's proud history and its incredible people, to protect and strengthen the things we love, and to take on the things that make life too hard for too many, like high costs that hold people back, aging infrastructure that slows us down. These problems, we know, have been building up for years, decades. Maybe there were other priorities, maybe the politics were hard. But we refused to accept things the way they were. We refused to kick the can down the road any longer.
What?
Why? Because if those soldiers can spend a year away from their families, if our firefighters can toil for days in the woods burning, if entrepreneurs can pour their heart and soul into business, then government can do our job and deliver the results that you pay for and that you deserve. And that's what we've done. Working with everyone in this chamber, and I mean it, as I look across this room tonight, I think about the work that we were able to do together, working with others across this great state. And in that work together, I'm proud to have been a part of working to complete one of the most productive legislative sessions in Massachusetts history.
What is she talking about?
Tax cuts, housing, economic development, health care, climate, veterans, to name a few. Mr. Speaker, Senate President, it's not lost on me.
This is unbelievable.
This could not have happened without your leadership. Thank you for staying with it. Thank you for getting so much done.
This is crazy, guys. This is crazy. Maybe the claps are like AI claps or something.
When I think about what we got done, you know what we focused on? We focused on the stuff that matters. The stuff that matters to most people. When Father John spoke, he alluded to some of the division and divisiveness that we experience right now in our world, not just in Massachusetts, but everywhere. But what we focused on
this is really wild,
are
guys.
the needs, the wants of residents and families across this state. I think we focused on the right things. People want life to be more affordable.
Yeah.
So we delivered the first tax cut in over 20 years. We gave seniors an extra $1,000 back. We're giving families an extra $400 back for every child. And we now have the most generous tax credit in the entire country, which goes along with free breakfast and lunch in school and no-cost community college.
They're talking about tax cuts. The city of Boston just raised taxes by 11%. Who cares about this?
We know that people need childcare. You know, after the pandemic, childcare across this country was collapsing. Childcare centers were closing. We got to work here in Massachusetts. And we got to work because we know our working parents.
Do you guys believe
counting on
this?
us. Do you know that we are, and I'm proud to say this, the only state to fully replace federal support that went away with a $1.5 billion investment. We not only saved our system, affordable child care is growing now in Massachusetts. Today, 36,000 more children are getting care. And what does that mean? It means their parents are able to go to work and support their families.
Oh my God.
People also want to be able to afford a home. So we passed the Affordable Homes Act to create tens of thousands of affordable homes and new
Tens of
homeowners.
thousands.
We've already
Tens of thousands. I haven't had one client, nor any of my agents.
We have more to do, and we're going to do it. People also need transportation.
Oh my God.
They rely on public transit to get around. Remember when we took office? Trains were barely moving.
What's the TLDR so
we
far?
hired an experienced
Nonsense.
general
That's what it is.
manager for the T and Phil Ang. And
How could you get up here and say these things?
yes,
Here they are. Let's see who's in the crowd. Your son can't get into daycare. Listen, we have 2 kids. It's
Yes.
cost of childcare is
in
insane.
Phil we trust. And why? Because with Phil and the added workforce, Phil set a goal with his team of fixing tracks by the end of 2024. A bold promise, given the T's history. And I don't know the last time a governor talked about the T so early in a state of the state.
Where's Wu? I didn't see Wu.
For the first time in over 20 years, the T is full speed with no more slow zones, giving you time back in your life.
Do you think
Phil
anybody
set
there
a
is
goal,
watching this
he
live
set a
stream or no?
deadline. He and the team beat it. Thank you so much and congratulations. We also made regional bus systems from the Berkshires to Cape Ann fare-free. And for the first time in 70 years, this spring, South
Who do you
Coast
think the
Rail
first
commuter
worst
service
governor in the union
going
is?
to be running to Taunton, to Fall River, to New Bedford.
Oh, my God. Lee, that's okay. Just let them get on their feet. I mean,
Transportation, housing, childcare. You know what people also want? They want safe and modern infrastructure. I promised to you that we would go after and chase every single federal dollar out there. And in 2 years, we brought home more than $9 billion to Massachusetts.
Oh, Newsom, yeah.
Money for roads,
He's
and bridges,
brutal.
high-speed internet and broadband.
Yeah, he's-
solar
I figured you were gonna say
and
that. Yeah,
so
he's
much
brutal.
more. I want to thank our federal delegation for all their
she's
work.
she's
in bringing
close.
this
Close
home.
second. Yeah, the Lake and Raleigh thing is horrible.
It's a really big deal. It's a really big deal. You think about it, in transportation dollars alone, we went from 34th place in the country to 7th place. We were ahead of larger states like Florida, Ohio, and North Carolina. We won funding
I know
to take
that,
the next
Barton,
steps
yeah.
forward on West-East Rail. We got the biggest bridge grant ever given to a state for the Cape Cod bridges.
Then she's talking about infrastructure. They're spending $200 million plus on White Stadium when they could just fix it for like 50. Somebody put an article out about that not too long ago. I might cover it.
Unexpected problems, including a massive influx of people into our emergency shelter system. An influx due to a failure of federal border control and a nationwide housing crisis. I want to be absolutely clear. We're dramatically reducing costs. We have and we will prioritize Massachusetts families. In 2025, we'll get families out of hotels for good. We're going to continue to keep working with the legislature to reform this system. Massachusetts taxpayers cannot and should not foot the cost.
We foot all the
government,
costs.
The federal government needs to fix this at the source by passing a border security bill.
Here we go.
I've said I agree. Anyone who does violent acts should be held accountable and be deported. I've also said that immigrant families who've lived here, who are working here, who pay taxes here, who are raising children here, deserve a path forward. Congress and the new administration must act and act without delay.
Oh, they are.
And whatever else is happening, we'll always put our veterans first. We passed the HERO Act. It's the biggest veterans legislation in state history. Thank you. That legislation.
Yeah, you're right. Now that Biden is leaving, it's the Fed's fault.
Job
Yeah.
opportunities and so much more. We're ending veteran homelessness once and for all, because no one who served our country should ever be left behind in their time of need. And we built.
Yo, not my thermostat. I had to put a lock on my thermostat. My wife turns that thing up, dude. I had to put a passcode on it. I locked her right out.
You know what we also did? In a short period of time, following a chapter of tremendous tragedy and heartache in our state, we built brand new world-class facilities at the veterans' homes in Chelsea and Holyoke.
Yeah, it's tough to qualify for LIHEAP to get. That's where I think they pay for your heating and stuff, right?
I love seeing my friend Rose Roy.
Or a portion of it.
Rose is 102 years old. She is a World War II veteran. The staff there take care of her like family. She leads us in the Pledge of Allegiance when we visit.
A lot of veterans are on the street, and
Rose,
it's
I know
horrible.
you couldn't make the trip here tonight. I know you're at the home watching with friends, and I just want to say to you and to all out there who served, we all thank you for your service. We love you, and we really, really want you to know that.
Eric, I used to be an electrician for 10 years. Yeah, the building permits, electrical permits, they're astronomical. They're thieves.
I'm proud that Massachusetts, not only the birthplace of the National Guard, the birthplace of the United States Navy, we're a state that's also always supported our military, and that's why we're so proud.
Yeah, Barton,
to win
I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. The middle class really gets screwed. It's true.
Jets for our air base at Barnes in Westfield. Colonel Dave, where are you, Moon? Dave Halassi-Kuhn is here with leaders from all of our military bases in Massachusetts. Thank you for being here.
People, some of you are texting me.
People want their government to work for them. Let me give you an example. A little while back, I found out that there was a law threatening to take away licenses from hundreds of commercial truck drivers. That wasn't right. We fixed it. And now they're keeping their licenses and their jobs. International Teamsters President Sean O'Brien's in the house tonight. He knows what a good trucking job means to middle-class families, and so do we.
I don't know if she's going to get elected another term.
Another thing that means something to a lot of people that we did, we made history by pardoning hundreds of thousands of people for misdemeanor marijuana convictions. It was the right thing to do. Thank you.
William, thank you for your service, buddy.
In Massachusetts, our greatest resource is our people. When we took office, too many were leaving for other states. Guess what? Now that trend is changing. Each year that we've been in office, fewer people have left. Last year, we had the biggest population increase since 1964. That's a 60-year high. I know.
I was thinking the same thing when she's talking about the unions.
When we deliver results and people are free to chase their dreams, there's no limit to how strong we can be. It's why we're ranked #1 in education, #1 in innovation, #1 in healthcare. We were named the best state for women, best state to have a baby, best state to raise a family. We're ranked the most environmentally friendly state and the safest state as well. Our economy has continued to grow and add good jobs. Unemployment is low. Median household income is the highest in the nation. We have an excellent bond rating, and our rainy day fund is at
Yeah, the gun laws here are insane. I don't own any guns, but like a lot of my uncle's family members do. And the gun laws in Massachusetts are insane. I was thinking about doing a video about that. Eric, you're right, man. California and Massachusetts, tons of people are leaving both of those states. It's actually unbelievable. Look at these people.
It is. It is. But I also know we got a whole year ahead. And this year, we're going to work to implement all that historic legislation that I was talking about. We're going to stay focused on the things that matter to you. We'll take new steps forward to fix transportation, make homes more affordable, invest in education, and grow our economy. State revenues are growing, but we also know, no matter what you're buying,
Eric, if you have that Toby guy's email or something, I would love. We have that guys. We have a podcast coming out in like 2 weeks.
So we're going to continue.
Hopefully, it'll go a little bit smoother than when I go live here. But we have a studio and everything.
Just as every family,
we have a lot of people that are going to be on that podcast too.
The budget I submit next week will prioritize efficiency, action, and impact. We need every dollar. You need every dollar to make a difference. We're going to do that because I want to make sure that things move and really go in our state. Let's start with transportation, because I think we have an opportunity to do something really special this year. When we took office, everyone was frustrated, and rightly so. Bridges were in rough shape, forcing long drives because of detours. Too many streets were filled with potholes, sidewalks were cracked.
Return to the Walking Sands. The town I live in have the lowest paid teachers. And we're behind budget by like $2 million. I'm scared to cover. I don't know if it's $2 million. It's close though. I'm kind of scared to cover it.
That's no way to run a transportation system. Certainly not for a modern economy.
Rocky, I think Mass is number 2 right now.
It wasn't going to keep us competitive either with other states.
Pennsylvania's taxes are lower.
And most important.
A lot of people from, I have agents there, a lot of people from Jersey, Mass, Connecticut moved there.
To get to school, to get to appointments, to just simply live their lives.
He's been getting bigger with all the new laws that were just passed. I'm going to check him out.
Differently. And we did. We got big projects moving with federal funding. We got more help to cities and towns to fix those streets and sidewalks. And we got the T moving. There's more that needs to be done. But what I can say now to drivers, to riders, to taxpayers is that the money you invest will get you results. Now, we can start building forward, building the kind of transportation that you deserve. Here's how we're going to do it. It's not with new taxes.
Okay.
It's going to be with smart, forward-thinking management. Our plan is to invest $8 billion over the next 10 years to make transportation in every corner of our state more secure, more safe, more reliable. We'll put the entire system, for the first time in a long time, on stable footing. When we do this, we're going to see the results. We'll see bridges fully open again, like the I-391 viaduct in Chicopee. You gotta. Yeah, you'll see smaller local bridges finally fixed too, like Commercial Street in East Weymouth. You'll see more funding in your town's budget to fix roads and sidewalks.
My
And
roads here
finally,
have been atrocious for the
as a
last
mayor,
5 years, maybe even longer.
we're going to help you. Finally, we're going to close the T's budget gap so Phil and his team can keep cooking. You're going to see major improvements when it comes to upgrades at stations like Ruggles and Roxbury.
They should extend the
new
T
platforms across our commuter rail
to
system,
more
from
neighborhoods,
Beverly
because that
Depot
would make,
to West
in
Medford,
turn,
Franklin,
housing
and
more
beyond.
affordable. That's
Look, the
realistically
bottom line
something that they
is
should consider.
You're going to wait less. You're going to move faster.
And
And we'll be a
release some
state
traffic congestion
where
as well.
everybody gets where they need to go.
Oh, thanks for the
safely,
donation, man.
Affordably, sustainably, and on time.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Let me tell you about housing. For decades, we didn't build enough housing in this state. We're paying the price for it right now. There's not enough housing, it's too expensive, but we're changing that.
No shit.
This year, with the Affordable Homes Act, we're going to get shovels in the ground and people in homes. And we're going to do it by working together. A $5 billion act we passed, thank you so much, I was able to sign. Now we're going to implement. Now we're going to lean in and implement. So far already, more than 116 towns have said yes to more homes near transit through the MBTA Community
Lexington, I'm actually going to cover this. Lexington was one of those towns. They approved like 1,000 homes or something. Whether or not they get built, we'll see.
Thousands of new homes are already in the pipeline. So let's keep the momentum going. Look, if we want our kids to stay here, if we want families to put down roots here, if we want seniors and grandparents to be able to downsize and stay here, if we want companies to grow, expand, to stay here, we're going to need to build more homes. So we're going to build them. Now, I've talked to you about homes and home ownership. I also want to speak to the renters out there.
Oh, here we go.
And the renters aren't just young people. So many families in this state are renting. And I know wherever you move, there's a huge cost. First month, last month, security deposit.
Thank you, Jimmy.
I rented
Appreciate
for
it,
many
man.
years.
I do.
know it adds up. And with today's rents, it costs so much more. And too often, there's been this other cost added on for something you didn't even ask for, a broker's fee. That's not right. Did you know that the average renter in Massachusetts is paying 10 grand just to get a foot in the door? $2,500 rent ends up costing 10 grand before you even move in. That's money that you could be saving for a down
Thank you,
payment or any
Guinness,
number
if I
of
pronounced your
things.
name right. Appreciate that.
If you rent, you should not be forced to pay a broker's fee. And that's why I'm calling to abolish tenant brokers' fees in Massachusetts. I believe it is the right thing to do.
There goes the tenant broker fees, guys. You'll pay for it monthly, and for as long as you're there, because your landlord will increase your rent.
We have the best schools in the
Because that
country.
is what
It's
they
a
do
core
in
value.
Pennsylvania, where I sell real estate
also
as
one
well.
of our competitive advantages. So I am
And tenants
committed,
don't
I
pay,
believe
and it
we
hasn't been
all
like that
must be committed
ever.
To excellence for every
The
student.
landlords increase the rent, period.
We're number one in education, and we are going to stay that way. Now, the voters decided in November that
It's
the
all
MCAS
fluff. Like, that's
graduation
basically what it is.
requirement isn't the way forward. I respect that decision. But it creates for all of us an opportunity and a responsibility.
Yeah, Veggie Queen,
to
I
make
get it.
sure
But what happens
that
is if you're
every
there
student
over a longer period of time, the
graduates
landlords,
set up
they
for
increase, they're not going to
success.
eat that
We
money.
need a high
Trust me, they're not going to, they
statewide
don't eat that money.
standard. Students,
They charge you
families,
monthly,
and employers
right? If they have to
need
pay
know
for
what
both
a
sides of the
diploma
broker fee, they will charge you
represents.
monthly.
And without that baseline, you know what happens. It's always going to be
Yeah,
the most
landlords are not gonna eat the
vulnerable
cost, guys,
students
period.
Who don't get what they need. For that reason, I'm directing a statewide graduation requirement council that will include teachers, colleges, employers, and students to develop recommendations.
100%. All costs are passed on to the tenant.
We're going to evolve to a new Massachusetts model.
And it
for
artificially
high school
inflates the
excellence
prices.
that best serves our children.
Yeah, they can't make property taxes legal. That's how they fund a lot of, like, local services,
And you know
teachers, and
what?
stuff like that. But trust me,
I don't know any of you
nobody
kids
likes
at home,
taxes.
but high school is not what it used to be, nor should it be. So we're going to match those high standards.
You guys got to stop texting
with
me.
great opportunities. Great opportunities like early college and job training programs that give students a leg up on their next step. Let me introduce a young man, Harris. Where are you, Harris? There's Harris. Let me tell you, well, don't clap for him until I tell you what he's done. I'm kidding.
Yeah, they're just clapping.
Harris
They're
comes
just
to us
clapping
as a
for
graduate
no
of
reason.
Burlington High School. Now, when he was there, he didn't just take traditional courses. He was also taking computer science through a career pathway. It's one of the programs that we've brought to over 100 high schools in Massachusetts. These programs partner with local employers in fields from biotechnology to advanced manufacturing to clean energy.
Don't they, like, hide the votes or
As a
something here
senior,
in Massachusetts? Like, you don't
Harris
know
did a
who
capstone
voted or something, right?
project with a
I had a
industry
meeting,
mentor
like, last week about
nearby.
this.
He built an app for a local sneaker store called Courtside Kicks. Now he's a freshman at the University of Massachusetts Lowell, doing a degree in software engineering and managing that sneaker store part-time. He's working hard, he's building great experience.
You guys should have told me my screen's messed up. I didn't realize it was messed up. There we go. Sorry about that, guys.
Somebody had to get more applause than
I don't
that.
live stream that often. Now you know why. We'll get better at it, though.
That's a real program, and I want parents out there to understand what's going on. Not only can your kids go to high school and take courses at a nearby community college and actually get credits towards an advanced degree, but we have programs like Career Innovation Pathways, where they can be on their way to learning skills and to working while gaining academic coursework achievement in our public high schools. We want that for all of our kids across the state. Now, I talk about kids like Harris who are thriving, and that's what we want for all of our young people. So let's also talk about the kids
Eric, I live in
who aren't
Stoneham.
thriving. Students are struggling. There are pressures.
It's easy for me to get up north or
challenges
down south if I have, like, showings with
that we never
clients, so
had
on
to
and so
deal
forth.
with when we were growing up.
Really close to the
And when
highways.
our sons and daughters are in crisis, they need help right away. No one, especially a child,
I think I got the screen
should sit
fixed on it.
for hours or days in an emergency room waiting for mental health care.
I think I do.
That's why we opened up 31 community behavioral health centers across the state. And you know what? They're working. They're there providing 24-hour dedicated care. They've made a difference, helping more than 30,000 young people so far. We're going to keep supporting that work. But we also need to do more. We need to meet students, young people, where they are. That's in schools, among other places, but in schools, it's really important. So I want to work to make sure that we're funding behavioral health support and growing that
Stoneham's
support
nice.
in schools.
It's getting very
across
expensive,
the
though, too.
state. It's going to be a big deal for parents. It's going to be a big deal for caregivers, and most of all,
Thank you, Matt.
we have the
Appreciate that, buddy.
opportunity to change the trajectory in a positive way for a young person in our state. We owe that to our young people. You know,
Schools are at capacity. I don't know why she's not talking about this.
what I wanted to take a moment on that because I do think it is something that so many people struggle with.
The student-teacher ratios are I don't know about every town, but in a lot of towns they're messed up.
That we reach
They're
out
they're disproportionate.
and that we encourage and empower those who are struggling with mental health challenges to reach out and to find support. We've got a lot of support in this great state. We got to find ways to build more support. But
Eric, my dad had an electrical contracting business back when I used to live in Pennsylvania a long time ago. I did that for 10 years prior to selling real estate. I've been selling real estate for 9 years now. So I'm like 19 years just in houses. We did commercial, industrial, residential.
We're talking about education and laws.
Manuel, everybody says I should run for office. I don't have the budget, or I don't know if I'd have the...
She's a long-time
I don't know.
She can't sadly be with us tonight, and we wish her the very best. But I mentioned Carol because this year, I believe that she and Senator Oliveira will reintroduce legislation to make classes in American Sign Language eligible for course credit.
Dude, that cop that made like 600 grand is crazy. I mean, don't get me wrong. People in office, or police officers, firefighters, anybody in the military, if they're behind me when I'm checking out, I will pay for their food or whatever they're getting. But that's a lot of money.
But I just wanted to say thank you. Massachusetts is America's
16-to-1 ratio is not bad.
We're first in quality, first in coverage, and we're number one for having the healthiest population. I don't know that I contribute to that, but I'm working on it. Look, we're number one because we have the best and hardest working nurses and doctors and healthcare professionals, not just in the country, but in the world. And we lead because we don't accept the status quo. We keep pushing forward. Last year, we were able to get an additional 60,000 Massachusetts people affordable health care coverage. Because of the steps we took, people in Massachusetts now have access to breast cancer screenings, midwives, doulas, birthing centers, recovery coaches, and so much more, because insurance is going to cover it. I also know that many have medicines that you need to take.
Yeah, the old guy on the left is, he's had enough.
Heart conditions, but you go to a pharmacy totally stressed out because you don't know if you can afford it. We've taken steps to take that stress away from people. And last week, I signed a law that says you're not going to pay more than $25
My wife just said that she'll divorce me if I run for office. That's what she said.
Inhaler, or whatever it is you need. I think that's really, really important. I thank the legislature for their work to get that bill done.
I have no plans of running for office. Okay.
Speaking of healthcare,
I would love to see somebody run that I could, you know, talk to.
Out of Massachusetts. And in the course of that, we saved 6 hospitals, protected 13,000 jobs, shored up the stability of the healthcare market. And I just want to say we did that because we worked as a team. We had unions and management working together. We had our great not-for-profit systems step in. And I really, really appreciate it. And I also really appreciate the leadership of our own fabulous Secretary of Health and Human Services, Kate Walsh.
If you're in real estate, you should keep an eye out for a nice property in New Hampshire. I have a couple colleagues that work up in New Hampshire, closer to the Hampton Beach area.
We still have much work to do.
One up in Maine, too.
Paying more than ever for premiums and out-of-pocket costs. Oftentimes, it's just so hard to get an appointment. It's really frustrating, isn't it?
Mike, have you heard what the new auditor has uncovered and exposed from when she was a rep?
We've got to change it.
Essay up on Beacon Hill. NDA she's being handed to cover it up.
Healthcare resources.
No, I don't know about that. I want to get her on the podcast, though.
I mean primary care. Primary care.
Oh, local news is horrible, Matt.
If we focus on primary care, we're going to get rid of a lot of other problems that become a lot more complex and hard for people and families, and also a lot more expensive. I'd love to build a whole army of primary care providers to be out there across our state so that when you call for an appointment, you're actually going to get one. You'll get the care that you need where and when you need it.
Maine's real nice. We go up to Old Orchard Beach a lot with the kids.
Our leadership in this moment has never been more important, including our unshakable commitment to reproductive health care for all who need it, for all who provide it. We're going to protect women's access to needed care, and we're going to protect.
When my son was born, Max, he just turned 4. I couldn't even go to the hospital. It was during COVID. My wife had him alone in the hospital.
Now,
it was crazy.
fixing transportation, healthcare, education, housing, all of these things
The applause
are super
sign.
important and make the quality of life better. They also make our economy more competitive and our businesses stronger. From our Main Street mom and pops to our global companies, our businesses, small and large, provide jobs and support communities.
Really,
So
Eric?
we have to support them.
Because I've been to
in every
Lancaster.
sector, in every corner of our
We've
state.
been to Lancaster before we had
about
children.
how
We've been there.
hard small
My wife's been there a
businesses
whole
are
bunch of
working.
times.
You know that. You see them every day. I hope that you support and frequent them every day. I think about Liz and Nate Latoile. They're here tonight along with Chris Sellers. Let me tell you about these guys, okay? So they've got a farm and a brewery out in Northfield, 4-Star Farms. And I say this, remember there's a guy, former governor, Sam Adams, he brewed beer. We've got a proud history of brewing beer here in Massachusetts.
Yeah,
But
the
do you
vaccine
know that
mandates were
until now,
it's crazy.
breweries like theirs weren't able to sell their beer at local farmers markets. That didn't make any sense.
GBH
So we
has their
fixed it.
chat disabled, by the
We're
way,
grateful
guys.
to 4-Star,
That's why we're live streaming here.
farms and small
Because of
businesses
course they
like
do.
it, and we want to
I don't know if
support
you guys
them.
caught that.
And I raise that as an example because look, large or small, it may not be the biggest deal in the world to everybody, but you know what? It hurts them. And if something is hurting any one of our small businesses, just like if something was hurting a bunch of guys who are driving trucks and driving our economy, let's look at it and see if we can do. We may not be able to fix everything. God knows the world's got any number of challenges. But the little things, taking action and not being afraid to take action, I believe is what we need to continue to do. Thank you, guys. I look forward to visiting you in a couple months.
No problem, Diane. It's my pleasure. I'm happy you guys came. It was like last notice. I was like, you know what? I'm going to live stream this.
And I'll go one step further. I'm also directing our economic team to review all business and licensing regulations in these first 3 months with the goal of cutting tape. I want it cheaper and faster to do business in Massachusetts. I want people...
Businesses are moving out of Massachusetts.
We can do that.
Let's be real here, guys.
When we back our businesses,
William,
they
I know.
grow and they thrive. Just this year, look at our global life science companies. Our leaders are investing in headquarters, in labs, and manufacturing plants, not only in Greater Boston,
Horse and buggy
but
down
in
Main
Worcester and
Road.
all
That's
across the
yeah, it's
state.
crazy.
Startups are growing here. They're going to help us decarbonize and bring more
Thank you,
energy
CRL. Appreciate
to
that, man.
Massachusetts. Now they're able to scale up statewide with support from our new climate tech initiative. We're also going to go big on artificial intelligence.
Uh-oh.
I don't want anybody to be afraid. AI is where the internet was 30 years ago. It's going to change everything. And states will either help steer AI's impact or will struggle to keep pace. We're
Yeah, bringing you,
Massachusetts.
Eric, you're bringing
We're
back our
Massachusetts,
businesses.
where we actually pioneered the science behind AI. So I want us to lead for Massachusetts businesses, for our residents, and for our workforce. See, AI is going to help us cure those diseases faster. AI is going to help us.
AI is going to take a lot of jobs, guys. I know you don't want to hear that, but it's true.
Our coastline to deal with the effects of climate change. AI is going to help us.
I'm not saying it's a bad or a good thing. I'm just saying that's potentially the reality, right?
Of services. This is what Massachusetts does. We do it better than anybody else.
It's crazy.
I want us to do it now. I want us to do it now so much. That's why I've funded $100
Newport cigarettes are illegal.
Towards an AI hub to back the scientists.
Yeah, Newports are contraband here.
The companies the researchers at our universities whose breakthroughs will define our future. We're investing in the data center in Holyoke that will support cutting-edge research by our universities, our research institutions, and our businesses.
Yeah, automation too.
We're putting
You're right.
Massachusetts on the AI map, and our students,
oh, the climate change thing. Oh my God.
Our businesses will lead. Just you wait.
I don't want to make people mad about talking about that. She represents AI without the computer.
We're also going to keep leading on clean energy. The climate law that we just passed speeds up permitting so we can quickly build out the infrastructure to get more energy to our homes, to our businesses, faster and cheaper. I want to thank all the workers who are going to help us get this done. Thank you especially to AFL-CIO President Chrissy Lynch for all the work.
Vinny, that's a good point, man. Where's all the money from taxes on marijuana and online gambling going? That's a great question.
This is a big deal. It means cheaper energy, cleaner energy, and energy independence. We're going to be building new homes, new labs, new data centers, new manufacturing plants. We got to power it all. So we've got to go out and get after it. 250 years after we started a revolution, it's Massachusetts' moment again. We'll lead the commemorations of America's founding. We'll fire up our tourism economy. We'll shine a light on our revolutions today, the ideas, the solutions that continue to make our world a better, freer place. This is a moment to know our past, to understand our present, and to
build the wind farms, it's like a bird
future.
sanctuary there.
In 4 days, there will be a transition of power in Washington.
Oh, here we go. Let's see what she says here.
I assure you, we will take every opportunity to work with the federal government in any way that benefits Massachusetts.
What she means to say is we will work with them as long as we can keep their funding. That's what she means.
And I also promise you, we will not change who we are.
That's not what you said 2 days ago with the right to shelter, right? David Miller, do you still live on the West Coast? I just read your comment.
I know you've been listening to me long enough.
Oh yeah, Maura's in the front.
While you were, your
Or, I'm sorry,
eyes
Michelle Wu.
took
She's right in the front, like right
some
over
of
here.
What is in this incredible
I think.
chamber, the history, the moments that not only changed the course of America, changed the course of the world. So much of it.
She can't even read her stay. Hey, sometimes I mess up saying Massachusetts on video, so I'm guilty of that too. I mispronounce towns all the time.
A week ago today, just days before his inauguration, President-elect John F. Kennedy spoke right here in this chamber. In this moment, I think of his words which are now inscribed on this rostrum. He talked about what service requires of all of us: courage, judgment, integrity, and dedication. Those are the values that must guide us.
We have like a third of the viewers GBH has.
Focus on what people need and how we can work together to deliver for them. Because in this moment, our actions matter more than
Nevada.
our words.
Okay.
Taking on the
Nice,
hard
man.
challenges matters. The choices and the investments we make matter. The world we build for the next generation matters. So in a time
What is she talking about?
that's too often defined by our differences, let's keep our eyes on the things we share in common. Let's recognize
is like the Hunger
that
Games,
our lives
guys.
and our fates are bound together. And let's work together for the common good in our Commonwealth. God bless you, Massachusetts, and God bless the United States of America.
Holy shit, we made it through it. So what'd you guys think? Why did she bring up... Why was she talking about JFK? You know what they're going to do with the money? That affordable housing thing? They're not going to be able... This is my opinion. Like, I've said this once, I'll say it again. They end up giving out a lot of that money to buyers, and it just creates more animosity in the marketplace because they end up not being able to build as many homes as they have.
Nice
like
job, Governor Healey.
Oh, here we go.
Thank you for your words. I will now ask Rabbi Mark Baker, President and CEO of the Combined Jewish Philanthropies, to come up to the rostrum and offer the benediction.
Now
Thank you, Governor Healey,
flows.
for your inspiring words and for your leadership. It's such an honor for me to be with you tonight. I'm a fourth-generation Bostonian, so this means a lot to me and to my family. Please join me in praying for the well-being of the governor and lieutenant governor, for the elected officials here today, and for all the elected officials and civil servants across the Commonwealth and our country. May God, source of justice, truth, and love, before whom every human leader stands, bless these leaders with the wisdom, discernment, and good judgment to make impossible decisions guided by vision, values, and love for the people they serve. We are living in fragile times. The problems we face locally and globally
I think they cut off the stream on GBH or something. I think that was it. I think they had enough. Did you guys see Did you guys see the video of Elizabeth Warren talking at that hearing the other day? Did you guys see that? This was insane. Did you see that? She was crazy. I think that was it. I think that was it. But did you guys see that video with what's his name, Pete Hegseth and Elizabeth Warren? It was ridiculous. She wouldn't even let the guy talk. It was unbelievable. Yeah, I saw that at the end. She didn't know that he was a general. I think they cut this off, guys. Hang on, let me see if I could. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. I think they cut this off, yeah. Did you guys see? Wait till you see this. I don't know if you guys saw this. Here it is.
Being able to have something to always protect myself with this Byrna allows me to have that peace of mind no matter
it was
where we're
unhinged.
really at.
Dude.
Thank you, Mr. Higson.
Watch this. I don't know if you guys saw this.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. Hegseth, thank you. Thank you for your service. So if you're confirmed as Secretary of Defense, you will oversee our military, including about 250,000 women who currently serve on active duty in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Space Forces, and the Marines. And I have serious concerns that your behavior toward women disqualifies you from serving in this role. Now, I've been trying to get answers from you for quite some time on this. You haven't wanted to meet or to answer any of my questions.
Did you guys see this? Am I playing you something you
So
saw?
we'll just have to do it here and dive in. I want to pick up on some of the questions asked by Senator
end it after
Shaheen
this
and
because I got to get the
Gillibrand
kids
and
to sleep.
Verona.
But
And I just want to make sure we have
This
a
was
list
fun,
of
guys.
some of the facts that I think are undisputed. I'm not going to talk about anonymous sources. I'm just going to quote you directly. We've got the video. We've got it in print. So going back to January 2013, you told a Fox News interviewer that women in the military simply couldn't measure up to men in the military, saying that allowing women to serve in combat roles would force the military to lower the bar. You picked up on that same theme in 2015, making remarks on Fox News, referring to women in combat as, quote, it would erode standards. June 2024, you said on Ben Shapiro's podcast, quote, women shouldn't be in combat at all. And then, of course, we've talked about it in 2024. You published a book, and you say on page 26 of your book, we need moms, but not in the military, especially in combat units.
yeah, Pam did good.
Page 48 of your book, you claim that women should not be in combat roles because men are distracted by women. And then 10 weeks ago, you appeared on the Sean Ryan show and said, I'm straight up just saying we should not have women in combat roles. Now, I presume you recall making all these statements?
Senator, I'm not familiar with the article you're pointing to in 2013, but it underscores my argument completely because in that 2013 argument, I was talking about standards.
No,
standards are what it's always been about,
let's not
Senator.
have this same fight again.
Always been about Senate
I've quoted
standards.
you directly. We've got the video. We're happy to show it. But I want to be clear here. For 12 years, you were quite open about your views, and your views were consistently the same. Women are inferior soldiers, sailors, Marines, airmen, and guardians. And in case anyone missed the point, and these are your words from 10 weeks ago, women absolutely straight up should not be permitted to serve in combat. And I notice on each of these quotes, those are said without qualification. It's not by how much you can lift or how fast you can run. They don't belong in combat, period, or your words, straight up. And then
Dave,
on
you got a
November
point.
9th, 2024, just 32 days after your last public comment saying that women absolutely should not be in combat, you declared that, quote, some of our greatest warriors are women, and you support having them serve in combat. Now, that is a very, very big about face in a very, very short period of time. So help me understand, Mr. Hegseth, what extraordinary event happened in that 32-day period that made you change the core values you had expressed?
Yeah, there was a lot of women that agree with this. I mean, look, guys.
Years.
Senator, again,
Wait 1 minute.
I very much appreciate you bringing up my comments from 2013 because for me, this issue has always been about standards. And unfortunately, because of some of the people that have been in political power for the last 4 years, priorities other than standards, lethality, and meritocracy have driven decision-making.
I'm quoting you from the podcast. Women shouldn't be in combat at all. Where is the reference to standards? That they should be there if they can carry, if they can run. I don't see that at all,
Yeah,
Mr. Hegseth.
she takes his comments
what
out of
I see
context
is that there's
big
a
time.
32-day period in which you
I think both
suddenly
true.
have
There could be
another
two truths here,
description
and they could coexist
about
at the same
your
time. I'll
views of
explain that in a
women
minute.
in the military, and I just want to know what changed in the 32 days that the song you sang is not the song you come in here today to sing.
Senator, the concerns I have and the concerns that many have had, especially in ground combat units, is that in pursuit of certain percentages or quotas, standards have been changed. And that makes the combat more
No,
difficult
let me make a
for everybody
suggestion
involved.
about what happened in that 32 days. You got a nomination from President Trump. Now, I've heard of deathbed conversions, but this is the first time I've heard of a nomination conversion. And I hope you understand that many women serving in the military right now might think that if you can convert so rapidly your long-held and aggressively pursued views in just 32 days, that 32 days after you get confirmed, maybe you'll just reverse those views and go back to the old guy who said straight up, women do not belong in combat. Now, Mr. Hagstaff, you have written that after they retire,
I'll give you my opinion on that
generals
in a
should
minute,
be
guys.
banned from working for the defense industry for 10 years. You and I agree on the corrosive effects of the revolving door between the Pentagon and defense contractors. It's something I would have liked to talk to you about if you'd come and been willing to visit with me. But the question I have for you on this is, will you put your
No wonder
money
he
where your
didn't.
mouth is and agree that when you leave this job, you will not work for the defense industry for 10 years?
Senator, it's not even a question I've thought about because
You can
it's
think
not
about it
one
right
that-
now.
It's not one, my motivation for this job
I
has
understand
never
that. I
been
just
about
need
what
a
could
yes or no
conceivably
here.
come next.
Time is short. I just need a yes or no.
I would consult with the president about what the policy should be
In
at the Defense
other
Department.
words, you're quite sure that every general who serves
This is the best part,
should
guys.
not go directly into the defense industry for 10 years. But you're not willing to make that same pledge?
I'm not a general, Senator.
You'll be the one, let us just be clear, in charge of the generals. So you're saying sauce for the goose, but certainly not sauce for the gander?
I would
Come prepared for the argument. Yeah, I think he probably was prepared, right? But the fact of the matter is, the poor guy really couldn't get a word in. He really couldn't get a word in. And just my brief take on this, this is the second time I've watched this. I think that what I was saying earlier, that two realities could coexist at the same time, or two truths could coexist at the same time. I think that maybe, like, first of all, he has substantially more experience, okay, in terms of these things. And when somebody gets on a podcast, like I'm here live doing this, guys, right? I can misspeak. I say things wrong all the time. You know that. But the fact of the matter, when it comes to perhaps what he was talking about during the times that he was talking about these things, I think that as he was trying to articulate but couldn't, I think that to some extent he was trying to explain that if any kind of bars have to be lowered or the standards have to be lowered, it doesn't have to necessarily be in the military. It could be with jobs, employment. I mean, you guys saw what happened with all the whole DEI thing, right? Like, if somebody's qualified, they're qualified. But as soon as you have to start changing the standards or lowering the standards, you effectively put whoever is entering at those lower standards in jeopardy, right? And then in turn, especially in the military, and I could be wrong on this, okay, this is just my unfiltered opinion here, you're also putting other people potentially in jeopardy as well. Now, I'm not saying that I think everybody should have an opportunity. There's tons of women in the military, but I'm not so sure about how many people are like, or how many women are at the front line, so on and so forth. So I think that what he's trying to say is that because he also did say, and what she was saying is 32 days later, he flip-flopped and said that there's like great warriors that are women on the front lines, right? And I think that that is also true, because he's probably seen it. But there's also the case, like I said earlier, that there could be two truths coexisting at the same time, where there may be people, and if they do something with the standards, it could cause a problem, okay? But she just, and I'm sure he would have articulated this better than me, right? Like, I'm not in tune with what he would say as he is, right? But I think that's perhaps what he was thinking about. And I could be wrong on that, guys. I've just given my opinion here. DEI lowered standards where they shouldn't. Yes, that's true. Anytime that somebody could get hired, DEI all the way. Yeah, DEI must die. Yes. Anytime you're like put in a position where standards become lower, and then perhaps people that are not necessarily as qualified get into a extremely qualified position, I don't understand how it could help like it's not a net positive, right? I work in net positives and negatives, okay? I don't see how that could be a potential net positive, all right? Especially in that sort of line of, I mean, in the military and stuff, it's crazy. But yeah, she was really unhinged there, guys. I mean, she really had to tone it down. I don't know a lot about this Pete guy, so I'm not like advocating for him. I haven't researched enough about him. I know he's done some bad things in the past and so on and so forth. But just this, snippet that I saw, I was like, this is unbelievable, guys. Like, people need to wake up. It's unbelievable. She wouldn't even let the guy talk. But anyway, all right, that's it. So I think we had I had a lot of fun doing this, guys. I'm probably maybe I'll do this again. But we do have like I said, we do have a live podcast. We have 2 studios we've identified. One is in Peabody. The other one is actually here in Stoneham. And we have a laundry list of people that you probably wouldn't even believe if I told you the names that are going to be on this podcast. It's going to be live. It'll be a little bit a better setting than this, right? Because we'll be in a studio. We'll be all mic'd up, the whole 9 yards. And I'm going to be basically asking questions to a lot of people, whether they're in politics or business or whatever it is, to try to figure out what the hell is going on in this state. Look, I like living here. I like Massachusetts. There's a lot of good things here, but there's also a lot of bad. And what happens is, I think that people come here and they don't actually realize what's going on until they peel away the curtain a little bit. And that's effectively what we're going to do. We're going to talk with people that are in different positions and get their opinions on it, and just try to figure out what's going on and keep you guys, the public, informed. So I really appreciate you guys being on here. It means a lot to me. I didn't know if one person was going to show up. I didn't know if 0 people were going to show up, but I think we had close to 150 people on here, which I feel like is pretty good, even since this was somewhat impromptu, right? I just posted this today. That's why I didn't have any videos out there today. I was quite busy. But anyway, guys, I'm going to have another video for you tomorrow morning once I get my bearings together and everything. But thank you for the donations. Okay, you don't have to do that, but I appreciate that. I'm very, very thankful that you stayed up with me tonight, and I know it's late, and we're going to do this again, I promise. And I'll see you on the next one, guys. Have a good night. Okay, bye-bye.